we are live. I'm coming to you from the Warren Public Library because I don't have internet at my house. Any
Love it.
day could go down, but Tuesdays, So I'm having a moment. Hey, Dr. J, what's up?
Hello, Stephanie. Hello, hello. Hey, and shout out to the folks at the library for letting you hang out and do this, right? It's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. But if we get a knock on the door and some little kid needs to do their homework,
We might let them, or we'll
we
just
might
bring it. We'll just bring them in, and they can learn a thing or two, and maybe write a
let.
paper on some hormone stuff.
That's true. And are on broadcasting because technically we are broadcasting live, everyone, here on a couple of different platforms. So I'm trying to, for folks that have connected with me in the past on my Facebook Lives, I'm trying a couple of different platforms. You can follow me on my regular page, on my podcast page, and I'm also streaming on live stream on LinkedIn. Where are you going live, Dr. J?
Well, I was trying to do YouTube, but we'll see how it goes.
All right.
We might have to just do it later.
This is awesome. All right, we'll do that later. So I am going to have you, first of all, thank you all so much for joining me. I'm so excited about this. I will be honest with you. I skim Instagram every once in a while. I watch Dr. J's stuff because she's hilarious and informative. Like she draws you in. So I love watching your information. I love the knowledge that I've gained from listening to you. So that's why I want to have you here to support my audience. So, can you introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about your expertise?
All right. Well, Stephanie, thanks for checking in my silly things on Instagram, and I love your podcast. That is like the Hello Hot Flash guys, awesome stuff. So, all right, me, who am I? I'm a naturopathic doctor. I'm an acupuncturist, and then I'm the host of the Health Fix podcast. And so that's how Stephanie and I met. And my big thing is really helping folks become their own best health gurus. And of course, because of the stage I am in life, it's all about hormones. It's about perimenopause and menopause and beyond, and just aging freaking well. That's what I want for folks.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, and you help us do that. I've learned a couple little cool tricks. You guys, Dr. J was on a podcast episode number 66 of Hello Hot Flash, and I'm going to put that on YouTube in the next couple of weeks, and you have to watch the video because it was hilarious. Like now I'm like, oh, let me look at my forehead and see if I have gut issues. It'll make more sense when you listen to the podcast. So what you guys are here for is to understand HRT. We hear a ton about, should I take HRT? That's hormone replacement therapy. Or should I not? Is it good for me? Is it bad? There were some studies done years ago where it was linked to cancer, and now studies that are debunking that. So I wanted Dr. J to talk to us about HRT, what it is, and how we should handle that decision when we come to get to that point in our lives. So can you talk to us, help us understand HRT?
Yeah, no problem. So HRT, hormone replacement therapy, there's two types of it. There is regular hormone replacement therapy, which are synthetic hormones that are being taken via orally, or they're like put in creams, things of that nature. And then there's bioidentical HRT, which is really synthetic, again, hormones that look more like what you got going on within your body. So they match up a little bit better. There's huge debate in terms of, is bio HRT more natural? Well, it's still synthetic. I want to get that out there for everyone. These are still synthetic molecules, much like traditional HRT. They come with risks. Yes, that was debunked about the major cause of cancer and things of that nature. Unfortunately, a lot of docs are still going on the old school data. Now, here's my thought process. Well, if we linked HRT and bio HRT a little bit to cancer, and there's different degrees with both of them being linked into cancer, the big thing is we got to know our bodies first to know, are we setting ourselves up for some trouble? Because really, how do we get cancer? It is the buildup of certain things. We can't detox certain things. The cells don't work properly. So is it really the HRT or the bio HRT that caused the issue? Maybe not. It may be that we've got some outside hormone influences, things of that nature that could be gunking up the system. as I call it. And so we got to know ourselves really well before we start jumping into these things, and really understanding, like, does my body detox hormones well in the first place? Am I eating things that aren't so great for me? Am I eating toxic foods, drinking toxic water? We're all drinking, or not drinking, but breathing toxic air that we can't control. So
Mm-hmm.
how do we look at all these things and go, okay, let's get the big picture here? And then there's also family history, genetics, breast cancer. Both my mom and my aunt died of breast cancer. You better believe that I am on top of looking at this, because if I'm going to do these things, I want to know all my risks. And that's really where I want women to start thinking about, like, is HRT or bio HRT for you? Philosophically and genetically, you need to know your risks. Then from there, we could go into other details, and I'll get to that. But I'm sure you got a question for me or two. I can see the wheels turning in your head.
I am. I'm thinking about, I'm like 3 steps ahead. Sorry about that. So do you have to use it? Do you have to use HRT?
You do not. You do not. I mean, and here's the thing. Back to, you got to know yourself well. One, are you impatient and your symptoms are really impacting your life, your ability to make money, your ability to function as a mom, grandma, etc.? These are things to think about. And maybe in that case, the HRT might be worth it, because it can be a lifesaver for a lot of women. So the answer comes down to, one, are you impatient, and are your symptoms really impacting your life hugely? Because I have a lot of women that are like, I want to do things natural, but sometimes natural and natural isn't as strong as the bio HRT or HRT. I mean, it just isn't. And so we have to be like, what are we up for? What can we handle? And then the other big thing that I've been using for years is this level of DHEA sulfate. It's in your blood. Best test you can look at to be like, all right, do I have the adrenal reserves to be able to use to be able to use, let me back up, to be able to use the herbs? Or am I so blown out? Like, meaning, is that level so low that my adrenals just really aren't going to be able to make hormones for me naturally? Because everybody, what happens here is your adrenals take over and make your estrogen and make your progesterone. Testosterone still hangs on in the ovaries, can still make those, the testosterone. But if you are so fatigued, sometimes your testosterone is really low because your ovaries are like, yeah, I'm done, cash me in, figure it out. So we have to know how depleted you are. And we want to know, like, what's going on genetically, what's going on in terms of something called methylation. How do you detox out of the cells? And then also what's going on in the liver, your liver pathways. Are they bogged down? Do you have some genetic defects that are going on? Once we know that information, we can make a very good educated answer to, okay, one, could you benefit? Two, could you go natural? Could you do hybrid? A little herb, a little bioidentical. That's a new thing that I've been kind of playing with in the last couple of years with myself and some of my clients too. So and I joke, but in all seriousness, it is true. The plethora of things you could do with bioidenticals and herbal fusion kind of treatments. It's a wild west. We've got lots of different things we can try. So
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but I immediately thought about the person that, I don't know if my liver can tolerate this. I don't know where my adrenals are. And I go to my doctor and they're like, what? No, I don't have a test for you. So talk to us a little bit about how we can get the information that we need in order to determine what path we should take.
Great question. Because yes, I hear more often than not that women go ask for help. The docs are like, yeah, this is natural aging, figure it out. Right. And then you're done. DHEA sulfate is a blood test. And this day and age, we can go to Ulta Labs, ULTA Labs, and order our own labs if we wanted to. Obviously, the interpretation, now we got to figure that out. And so folks like me, so naturopathic doctors that focus on hormones, also functional medicine practitioners. So there are some amazing nurse practitioners and docs out there who are well informed in this department who can help you out too. Now, the urine metabolites, so I was talking about how do you break down things through the liver and in the cells, the Dutch test, so dutchtest.com, that is the best in terms of layout and how it breaks it down for you to interpret. But also ZRT lab is another lab that does this and breaks it down for you as well. The Dutch just has a better let's face it, it's user friendly for folks to
It
understand what's going on. And so there are practitioners that are listed on these websites. You'll find my name on them. There's other folks just like me that can give you get you in the right direction to help guide you. Now there's genetic testing. And if you have family history of anybody with breast cancer, colon cancer, ovarian cancer, you can get in it. If it's a first degree relative, meaning mom, sister, aunt, someone in that department, you
Mhm.
can get testing done via a lot of like the university systems. For example, in Washington State, where I practice, the UW, so University of Washington system, has a whole program for genetic testing to know what is up. But there's also some stuff where you can get genetic testing through functional medicine docs too. Just, say you don't have a first degree relative, but you want to know what you're working with on your genetics, you can specifically target your female hormone genetic, risk. Let's put it that way, genetic cancer risk. So it's something that I really recommend to everyone, because knowledge is power here. The more you know about yourself, the more you're going to be able to navigate what's best for you in this situation. Because I wish I could be like, if you have, this criteria, this is the best thing to use. That would be great in theory, but I'm sure you, as well as I've heard, Stephanie, is a lot of people will have side effects to
Yes.
hormone replacement therapy, and that can be really scary.
Yeah. Some people, so I know me personally, part of uh, what I've discovered when I started this, I'm like, I'm going to just add up how much I spent. And I spent $20,000 out of pocket on these extra
Mhm.
supplemental tests and so forth.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
I stopped adding because I didn't want to know anymore. But I will tell you, it was $20,000 worth it, because I could have spent that on clothing, on cable, on eating out, on anything, but I spent it on my health. So now I can feel good enough to work and buy the things that I want or need. So I kind of wanted to throw that out. Though there is an additional cost, a lot of times out of pocket for some folks, to take these types of tests on their own. But once you get with a practitioner who understands them, that it's completely invaluable, so that you can customize exactly what your body needs in order for your body to recover. Because I had some allergens to things like apples and tropical fruit and stuff. Like, no one would have ever been able to tell me that. I would have never known about my liver issues and so forth. So what you're saying is magic, when people can start taking ownership of their own health, because you're going to have to do that, and then do
Mhm.
some of the testing.
Mhm.
You did talk a little bit about how there are some pros and cons to
Mhm.
HRT as well. Can
Mhm.
you go into that a little deeper for us?
Yes, absolutely. So some of the cons, let's go with the cons first, because we'll get those out of the way, because the pros outweigh them, heavily. But yes, there is the potential to feel worse. Have
Mm,
your, and most people are going to look for HRT when they're like, my hot flashes, I can't sleep,
yeah,
I feel like I'm not myself, I don't know who this is in my body, my moods are all over the place. Those are like the typical spots where people will go for it. And then there's the folks who categorize it into like, I want to lose weight, I want muscle strength, things of that nature, I want my energy back.
right.
And here's the thing, if you do not detox hormones well in the first place, you might have some trouble detoxing these bioidentical hormones. So you put them in your body, and now they build up. Now you start having breast tenderness, and my breasts haven't hurt for, since I had my last period. What in the world? You might even get some bleeding and be
Mm,
like,
no, that
I
happens.
haven't, I haven't had a period in, over a year or 2 years or whatever. Now I'm spotting. These
Right.
are real side effects that happen with excess estrogen in particular is a big one. And it's more of the trouble that it's rare that I see excess progesterone. However, we can overdose on progesterone and end up with high progesterone. And now women are on the progesterone going, I feel bloated. I feel just puffy. I've got acne. That's too much progesterone.
Mm,
Testosterone, too much testosterone, your hair starts to fall out. And a lot of people don't tend to see that this is something that could actually happen. We're sold and there are some good hormone clinics out there. But right now we have a trend of what I call convenience stores for hormones.
mm,
And what's happening, folks go in, they've been sold on like, you need hormones, and you're given cookie cutter treatments, you're given cookie cutter dosages, not based on necessarily your labs. Your labs might show like, yes, you need hormones, but
Yeah.
it's usually done on blood. And by the way, folks, blood tells you one picture of what's going on
Mhm.
with your hormones. It tells what's happening in real time. And if you're still getting your cycle and you're given bioidentical hormones, now you got to make sure you're getting between at least day 19 and 26 to know like what accurate read on what's happening with progesterone and things. And so my biggest beef is that we've got these cookie cutter clinics that are being advertised all over the radio, on the side of the road, we'll solve all your hormone problems. But here's the thing. This is where I see the most side effects happening, when there's not detailed care as to what's going on. Now, that's a big deal. Now, have I had people in my practice get side effects? Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's because we either two things. One, we didn't know all the background data on them. We weren't able to capture it. There were some, financial issues, or it was before I started doing all of the things to
Right.
do this, because I'm in an evolution of practice just as much as everyone else. That's what we call practicing medicine.
Mhm.
We're figuring it out. And
Yeah.
so side effects are real. And weight gain, when you want to lose weight but weight goes up, now we got another issue. Usually we can track it back to estrogen and things of that nature, and testosterone, like I mentioned, the hair falling out. Even at 1 milligram, some of the smallest dosages we can see women have hair fall out, and that
Yeah.
sucks. Like, nobody wants that.
Right.
So this is why the Dutch test, which folks are listening, it's around $350. In some cases, you can resubmit it back to your insurance to get them to give you some reimbursement for it. So sometimes in some cases, it's not even more than $100. So this is something that I really want folks to be thinking about. Like, you can do this. There are
Mhm.
ways. And so obviously you have to order it through a practitioner that is in your state that can do a super bill for you, things of that nature. I'm in Washington and in Montana. There are other states. There's folks all over. You guys
Right.
can do this. So anyway, that's the cons. There are side effects. It's
Mhm.
not always a magical road. The cancer side effect, have I had anyone on bioidentical hormones in my practice end up with cancer? Yes, one person in the beginning, and she come to me on super physiologic, so meaning really high dosages of hormones, and we
Mhm.
brought her back down, tried to detox her off of them, and unfortunately I don't know how much, because we can't tell per
Right.
se. I
Right.
think there's other factors, like alcohol consumption's another big one, just to throw it out there. So in my I'm on almost 18 years of practice. In my almost 20 years of practice there, I've seen one person. And can we absolutely nail it down? No, that's the hard part, because there's too many extraneous factors. And that's why we have to do the pre-work before
Yeah.
we jump on these things, versus walking in a clinic that's all they do and you get a cookie cutter treatment. Now, pros,
Yeah.
I did all the negatives. I got the pros. Jump in if you got questions before I jump to the pros. Let's go there first. I've been talking a lot.
Do you want to go? Let's go. You can look because you're live as well. Let's see if we have any questions from folks out there. I want to. This is my first time using StreamYard, you guys, so I want to make sure
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing any. I'm not seeing any questions. Let me check Facebook as well.
Okay.
Love doing stuff live. Woo woo. I'm lying because the perfectionist in me is like, oh my gosh, I'm lying. I'm not seeing any. I'm going to check one more place because we're streaming all over the place today. I am not seeing any questions right now.
Okay.
So I do see a share, but not any questions right now. Let's go with the pros.
Okay. Cool. Hopefully I've not overwhelmed folks in all of this. I'm trying to talk a little faster to try to put all the data in here. But for pros, I mean, bioidentical hormones can be life-changing.
Mhm.
They absolutely can, no doubt. If you can get a solid night's sleep where you sleep like a baby, huge.
Wow.
If you can get through your day without hot flashes, especially if you're in a position where you're speaking, you're teaching, and you've been embarrassed because you're getting the face red and you're sweating, and that can be really embarrassing and impact on your confidence, and especially for women who are teachers
Yeah.
in all levels, because kids don't understand this, and they're like, they can be really cruel. And so those are some of the things. The other big thing is for women who are in fitness. This is my jam. I love to work out. But sometimes what we'll find is we'll get into workouts and we're just so tired. We're dragging. We don't want to do it anymore. Or there's tears that come with like it's deadlift day. And all of a sudden you're just crying in the middle of a deadlift. You're like, I have no idea what's going on. You know, these kind of embarrassing things, right? Same thing goes with saving relationships. I don't know how many women have told me, like, look, I'm a normal person now, not this crazy, you know, psychobabble up and down moods. My family's afraid of me kind of situation, because it can get very, very real. And I think last but not least is really, you know, and I could go on for hours about pros, but really the biggest ones that I hear are those that I've described. And then also just feeling like myself again, feeling like I've come back into my body from this weird, you know, experience, out of body experience. And that is priceless. Energy levels increase. These things are incredibly life changing. And so that's why, you know, yes, I'm a naturopathic doctor. Yes, I was told to do everything natural. But here's the thing. Sometimes we need some interventions. And when we need the interventions, it can be life changing. We just got to do the work ahead. We got to know ourselves ahead. And that's kind of one of the things I will keep saying over and over again. You can be your own best hormone guru if you take the time to know yourself and know what tweaks you need as time goes on.
I love that you ended us with talking about grace, having enough grace for yourself to understand what's going on in your body. And if this is something you actually need, then by all means, once you've done the research, once you've done taken the necessary steps, then if that is something you need, then that is an option that is available to you. So I appreciate that. I thank you so much for being here. I was so excited to be able to talk with you again. And before, we talked about us working together in another capacity. So you guys will hear more about that coming soon. Can you end folks by letting in the well, I'm going to check one more time. I saw people are coming off and on. No, I don't see any questions. So please end by telling people how they can get in contact with you.
Yes. Best way to find me is over on Instagram. You'll get my personality. You'll get all the candid things that I like to say about getting older and hormones and things of that nature. That's Dr. Dr. Jannine, Jannine, Krause, Krause. And then my website is Dr. spelled out JKRAUSEND. So N is an Nancy, D is in dog.com. And then my podcast, the Health Fix Podcast. I'm bringing on lots of folks who, you know, just anything and everything I can think about to help support you in your aging well journey. And coming soon, I will have more things talking about women defying aging and really doing some really cool, amazing things as they get older and kind of, let's say, bucking the social norm of what it looks like to get older. So good things come in there. And I'm sure Stephanie and I will be doing some more stuff together here soon.
Yeah. I'm super excited about it. Thank you once again for being here today, folks. If you want to listen to a full podcast with Dr. Jannine, go to hellohotflash.com/episodes. And her episode is episode number 66. And again, it's amazing on audio, but I can't wait for the video to come out too. We had a lot of fun that day.
Yeah, we did.
Everyone, here's to your help. Oh, couple of things. Please make sure that you join us next week for another live. And we will again talk about any I forgot what the subject is. We're going to talk about menopause next week, y'all. and how you can help navigate this time of your life. So once again, thank you so much for joining us, and here's to your health.